I found out about the book through an executive who had just read it, felt enlightened, felt like they needed to give a copy to various employees. What's in it for male executives as they think about trying to run a more equal company?
Right, and the executive who recommended it, I'm assuming, was a man, right?
Correct.
Because that's why
most executives are.
Exactly, but that's why I wrote the book. I actually wrote it for men, and the reason I wrote it is because women, when we get together, talk all the time about the issues we face at work, and not just the Me Too issues of sexual abuse, but the everyday indignities, the being overlooked, ignored, marginalized, not taken as seriously as our male colleagues. And so, but women talking to each other, it's half a conversation, and it gets us to 50% of a solution. So we really need men to join us, and that's why I wrote the book. I've grown up professionally around men. I know a lot of really great guys who would like to be part of the solution, but a lot of them just don't know how. Don't also know what to say.
So in general, when you see top executives come out and say, look at what we're doing, we're doing this, this and that and making progress, are you saying that's sort of all talk and no action for the most part?
You know, I've got to say, in the wake of Me Too, there's been a lot more conversation, and I'm working with a lot of companies going and speaking, and that's very encouraging, but I'm getting frustrated because there's a lot of talk and there is simply not enough action. We're not seeing enough movement.
What type of action would you like to see? Some tips or advice?
Yeah, so there are things that companies can do and there's things individuals can do. On the company side, I have seen some companies that are starting to make progress. So, for example, returnships. This is something, returnships are like internships for people, it could be women or men, who have taken a few years off of work, often to raise kids. And the first one was actually, it was trademarked by Goldman Sachs back in 2008. And at that time, it was an outlier program. It's like a program, you're there for a few months, just like an internship. You refresh your skills, and then you can apply for other jobs. When it started, Goldman was an outlier. Not that many people got jobs. But in the last 2 years, it's exploded. So we have seen quite a few new programs. There's a company called iRelaunch that specializes in placing women in these programs. They count 50 companies, 38 of which have introduced these programs in just the last 2 years. And they're companies from all over, from technology like Apple and IBM, in banking, insurance, so you're consulting. So you are seeing them. Most of them are pilot programs, but it's a start.
And the idea of mandatory paternity leave is fascinating, and I wonder what kind of uptake you see for that, either now or down the road, because it really does seem like if it's mandatory, if it's not kind of, well, if you take maximum leave, if you're a father, maybe you're kind of shirking.
Well, I love the mandatory paternity leave. So there's only one company I'm aware of. It's called Humanize. It's in Boston. The reason, when I spoke to the CEO, he said, we started this program because lots of companies now are starting to offer family leave, but men don't take it. Women take it. Men get that kind of wink from their supervisor that says, you don't really want to do that. It's going to hurt your career. So the men don't take it. So the CEO said the only way to even the playing field was to force the men to take the leaves, which they now do. And it's hard. I spoke to the first man who took paternity leave, forced to take paternity leave, and he said his relatives looked at him like, how important could you be?
I have a quick industry or sector. I don't know how much you've gone into looking at the different sectors. You're from the media sector, where you're an executive and a journalist. Are certain industries worse than others in terms of their biases and their policies?
Without question. So tech, we just saw those numbers at Google. Tech and finance are, without question, the two worst. I think tech has been trying to make some moves, but it is so you need policy changes, you need strategy changes, you need workplace changes, and the leadership has to own it. Tech is attempting to, but it's so male-dominated and overwhelmingly male that it's been very hard. Finance, I think, is a bigger issue in that finance is a little bit more in denial, in my experience, in saying, oh, well, we're really merit-based, and therefore we don't have sexism in our organization. But if you dig down and then you look at who are they hiring, who are they promoting, who's getting the good accounts, right? If you are being given the prime accounts and if you're being given the mentoring, you're going to be have better results than those who are not.